Okay guys, I wanted to give you a little bit of help on the CAN lab. For those of you that are motivated enough to dive into it this weekend and get her done, here's some thoughts. First of all, here's what I gave you in the first place. Volume is pi r squared h. That's the volume of a cylinder. And the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. And then we knew that the volume was 1,000. That's really important because that eliminates one of our variables. Now, I hope you get that you've got R and H, and so you got your two variables. And you need to get that down to just one variable, all right? This part, I'm not going to tell you too much. I'm not going to tell you how to do the whole lab. But at some point, you will get this down to one big formula that will be a variable. Let's say y is equal to this big long formula. And yeah, it'll have pi in it, but that's not a variable. It'll only have one variable in it. And when you get it graphed, that's the key moment I wanted to help you with. Because if you get this thing graphed, I told you use a graphing calculator. If you get this thing graphed, it's one of those really weird graphs. When you look at it for the first time, it just looks like a parabola, like this. Like it just goes on forever. And there's no like low spot, because you're looking for a low spot that's bigger than 0, of course, because you don't want your radius or your height or whatever that is to be less than 0. So you're looking in this zone here, and you're trying to find a low spot, and the low spot's at 0, and that doesn't make any sense. But that's because of the nature of this graph. You really need to be able to zoom in and look at this area right here just perfectly. And so the best tip I have for you is to either set your window very carefully, because I don't want to tell you too much, but you need to set your window very carefully in here so that you can see your graph better, and your graph will have a low spot in it if you look in the right spot, okay? And if you set your window right, you'll be able to find that low spot. And that, of course, is the lowest amount of surface area that you could have. So, so my main tip is this. Get it all down to one equation. And when you're graphing, if you get stuck, I encourage you to try using Desmos. Desmos is an app that's available in the school's app store, or get it wherever you can. And Desmos is a great graphing app. And when you type it into Desmos, it just shows you right away. You can zoom in with your fingers by pinch zooming, and you zoom into that part of the graph that, of course, is bigger than 0, and in this little zone here, and you'll be able to see where that low spot is really easily using Desmos. That's the way I would go instead of using your graphing calculator and trying to play with the window. You can do it, but it took me a long time. Best tip of the day, use Desmos to find that low spot. And from there, you'll have to do the rest of the math to figure out, okay, so what does that mean about this can? And what is that perfect ratio of the height to the radius? You can figure out the height to the diameter and then easily change that to height to the radius. All right, so that's my help for you. Have a great weekend. Take care.